We appreciate you joining us in the trenches with Dave Lapham, brought to you by First Star Logistics. And as always, we are in the studios that First Star Logistics built for us, and they are outstanding. Second to none, really. I mean, it's a great atmosphere, great place to work. Look forward to coming to work and doing podcasts, and hopefully you folks enjoy listening to the podcast.
Easier to do your job there than down at the stadium right now, I guess.
No doubt about that. The stadium is a tough. It's not quite a morgue, but I don't know what it would be. As you know, I mean, it's a tough environment down there. There's no doubt about it. Cause I have watched a lot of Bengals teams over the years, and watching this team at training camp, I didn't think that it was going to be a Super Bowl team. You know, I didn't think that necessarily it would be a division winner, but I thought it would be in the hunt. You know, I thought it would be competitive. It would, come down to the last couple of weeks of the season, whether they end up earning a seed, maybe one of the late seeds, to get into the playoffs. And then if you catch fire and, win a game or two in the playoffs, hell of a year, I did not expect after 10 games the team to be 3-7. What were your expectations like?
I would say maybe a little better. I expect, and kind of like most of the population of the greater Cincinnati area, if you got Joe Burrow as your quarterback, you expect great things to happen, even with a mediocre defense. We went to the Super Bowl in 88. We had the number 1 offense, and we had the number 15 defense. That's kind of the formula for the Bengals to get there. But Joe got hurt, and we had 4 weeks of chaos. And then Joe Flacco came in and rescued us for a few weeks, and now we're right back to the stinky part of it. But the season's only going to get tougher.
It's only going to get tougher. You're right about that, man. They got to stretch. They all they've got is New England. Then they go to Baltimore, and they go to Buffalo, and then they Baltimore again. So I mean, you get Baltimore twice in 3 weeks, and then you have to go to Miami, and they've kind of caught fire. They're playing pretty darn well. They're playing a hell of a lot better than they have been, and finish at 2 home games, Arizona and Cleveland. You're right. It doesn't get any easier.
Nope.
So, I mean, I think that Joe Burrow is going to play. I think that he's working. He's doing everything right now. He feels like he is 100% physically, and that's going to be the key. That'll be the decision maker. That'll be the driving force. If he feels like he has no issue, no pain, no restriction in range of motion, everything's smooth and free and easy in terms of being able to bend and do all the things that you need to do, change direction, things that you need to do to play the game effectively. If he can do all that, Joe Burrow is going to play. And I think at that point in time, the organization and the medical people who will have made the decision, if Joe's like 99.9% in their mind, he won't play. He won't play. If it's 100%, he'll play. What do you think? Do you think Joe Burrow should play?
Joe Burrow's getting paid a lot of money. He's the starting quarterback in Cincinnati, and I think it's his responsibility, and I think he's just aching to get back on the field.
Yep.
Risking another injury, that's something that's out of his control. Obviously, if the training staff and the management thinks he's at risk, then he shouldn't go out there. But I don't know that there's a football player on the field these days that isn't at risk of getting hurt. So, right. And nobody's 100% healthy at this point. My only concern is that it didn't take them very long to get Joe Flacco hurt. He says the first time in 18 years he's got a bad UCL joint or whatever that is in his shoulder.
Yeah, the AC joint, yeah.
He just you can't keep taking these hits. And we talked about this really early in the year. He just can't keep taking these hits and stay upright. And that's true for anybody. I don't know if Josh Allen could stay upright the way they're getting after these quarterbacks.
Yeah, and you add to the fact that Joe Flacco is over 40 years old. I mean, it's like when you have a 40-year-old quarterback on the football field, you feel an obligation to protect the guy, keep him upright, like you say.
Yeah.
You don't want him to take extra hits, unnecessary hits like right after he throws the football, almost simultaneous to the release of the football, he's getting smoked. The
last game was ridiculous. I mean, he hit his mark and he hit his drop back mark and set his feet to throw and was getting whacked.
Yep. I mean,
reminiscent of the first few games of the season.
He didn't have 2.5 seconds to throw the football. It was 1,001, 1,002, get it out because here they come. And I credit him though in that he bounces back. He's tough as nails. He's a physically tough son of a gun, mentally tough son of a gun. and he's a great teammate. He's not calling out his offensive linemen. Of course, quarterbacks think that could be suicidal thing to do anyway. You don't do that.
Yeah.
But he's not doing that. He's not really calling anybody out. He just keeps playing at a high level. Shoot, I mean, they're averaging over 30 points a game with him as the starting quarterback. You can't ask for more than that, can you?
No, Joe's a pro's pro, and you got to admire everything that the man does. He comes in here, turns the offense around.
Yep.
Really turn the offense around, expose the defense because they haven't been at the top of their game really all season long. It was just overshadowed by how poorly the offense had been playing after Joe Burrow had been hurt.
Right.
But now they got that other problem. Now they got a questionable defense, and they got a sore arm quarterback. And now the saving grace is, can Joe come back and come Burrow back and be the healthy quarterback in the whole lot? You know.
Right.
Wow. Where do you go?
Yeah. I mean, I think, Joe comes back. There's 7 games left. Oh, no, 8 games left. There's 3-6, 8 games left. So Joe is probably has to win 6 games, You got to go 6-2.
If you're going to have anybody sitting in the stands buying food and beverages, you better win some of those games. What are they at home this year now?
Yeah, not pretty. All right, so this year they're Jacksonville, they won at home. Let's see, Detroit they lost. Pittsburgh they won. Chicago, the Jets they lost. In Chicago they lost. So they're 2-3 at home, which is not as bad as I thought. But they've won more games at home than on the road by 1.
They got 4 home games left.
Home games left: New England, Baltimore, Arizona, and Cleveland. 4 home games left. Yeah, 4-4. 4 home, 4 away.
I'd say if you could win 4 home games, you salvage the season.
Yeah.
And split on the road. That's the old formula. Win your home games and split on the road.
True. Yeah. The old
calculus of football.
Calculus of the NFL. Schedule 101.
That's right.
Yeah. I don't know. Let's dive into the defense that you talked about a little earlier, a little bit in more depth. The defensive football team has struggled. That's a no-brainer. There's no question about that. Struggle might be kind, but man, they'll play a couple of good series. It's like, all right, they got it. They're turning it around. They have a good feel for what they're supposed to do, how they're supposed to do it, where they're supposed to be, when they're supposed to be there, all that good stuff. And then boom, it just turns the other way. It's like, what the hell are they doing? Why is he over there? He's not supposed to be over there. I mean, why would he vacate his area of responsibility to go over and help somebody that doesn't really need help? This defensive football team, Al Golden must be pulling his hair out by the roots. I mean, he's got some new coaches on the defensive coaching staff, and at this point, you're over the midpoint of the season, more than halfway, or just under the midpoint of the season. You're just over, I should say. But you're struggling, and you're struggling mightily. What do you do? What if you're the defensive coordinator? What do you do? I mean, you can't bench everybody. He's already made some moves at the linebacker position, and he's had to make moves because of injury, and guys get nicked up, and that's a factor as well. You don't have continuity in the players from a week to week basis. But man, it's a mess. How do you clean it up, Kaz?
I think there's 3 things going on there. If your game plan works from the start, you're feeling pretty good about it. Then the offense makes adjustments, and you have to make adjustments back. And if you don't, then you look like we did last week. Played very well early, and then the bottom fell out.
Yep.
If your game plan doesn't work and you don't make any adjustments, then you look like the Jets and the Bears, where we just couldn't stop water. And then there's games where your game plan works. He makes adjustment, you counter, and now you got defense for 4 quarters. And it's somewhere in between. I know that the Lions, I was so impressed with the game plan the Lions had, because they played on their emotions. They played on that defensive only meeting, and they came in all jacked up, ready to chase the ball around, and boy, did they.
Yep.
And the Lions had every trick book known to mankind, every trick in the book.
Yeah,
and we were going right, and they were going left. We were going left, they were going right. And took advantage of our over aggressiveness And by the time we got our feet back underneath us, we couldn't stop them.
You just made a great point. Over aggressiveness. I think that's what happens when defenses struggle. Guys are like, "Oh crap, man! I got to do something." They kind of take it upon themselves to be the savior. I'm personally going to turn this around for us. I'm going to go make plays. I'm going to go force turnovers. I'm going to make tackles for loss. I'm the guy. I'm the one that they can count on. It might be a captain. They voted me captain for a reason. It's hard to do this because it's against human nature. But the thing that you have to do is tamp it down a little bit and make sure that you're doing what you're supposed to do. Stay in your gap. Make sure
that's
you
really the key to offense and defense, really special football in general.
Yeah.
Any play during the entire game, I got to do my job the best I could do my job.
Yep.
And if everybody else does their job accordingly, then the play is successful. Defensively, if you're not in the right gap and you're supposed to be in that gap, but you thought I can get to the quarterback by going this direction, shortcutting it, you're out of your gap. Now the quarterback runs for a first down. And that's what happened, Justin. When the Bears came into town, that's what happened. And you wait to see Lamar Jackson and Buffalo. You wait to see those guys run the ball. If we vacate our responsibility, it's going to be Katie bar the door quickly.
The Bengals have given up more points than anybody in the National Football League, and that should come as no shock to anybody. I mean, they're just getting scored on at will.
7 games, they give it a first drive touchdown, I think. Isn't that right?
Yeah, I think that is right. I mean, it starts from Jump Street. I guess I don't know. You're almost at a point where, what do you do? Do you try to do some things that maybe you haven't practiced at training camp and you didn't practice at mini camp, and guys really have not had a big exposure to, but you have to do something differently? And this is maybe what the coaching staff feels is an answer. Do you try to do something that drastic, or do you just say, guys, look, bottom line is you just got to buckle your chin strap up, buckle both straps on that chin strap, and go play ball? I mean, is that what you do?
I think something different is throwing caution to the wind. They had all these training camp practices. They evaluated every player, and it's not a day goes by where you're not being evaluated. You get evaluated by how you walk through the lunch line.
Sure.
And they know that this guy can do this in my system. This guy can do this in my system. This guy can't do that. So if I put him in that position, I'm hurting the team. And so as a coordinator, you got to play to the strength of your guys. You get injuries, and all of a sudden you find out a guy can do something that I hadn't seen him do before. The way the Bears secondary responded when all those guys were hurt, they found guys out the street that could play defensive back, and all of a sudden they had no idea these guys could play.
Yeah.
It's next man up. Well, I think if you play outside of the boundaries of what you established their limits are, you really risk putting them in a bad position and hurting the team. So the defense coordinator, he's tough. He's caught in a bad situation right here.
He really is. Yeah.
What do? You're playing the cards. I think you got to pick your points of being more aggressive, and then pick your points where you're going to sit back. But you can't be consistently aggressive, and you can't be consistently sit back, because that's legal burn you.
Yep, they will. They'll get a read on it. These quarterbacks are too damn good. When you look at it, let's go position by position on the defensive football team. I thought for a period of time the defensive tackle was playing pretty darn good. They were taking care of the running game and fulfilling their gap control responsibilities. They got some young, athletic, high draft picks, and then they were struggling a little bit on the edge. Even though they got some youth there, they're still trying to figure it out. They're not quite where they need to be mentally yet. And so then, of course, you can't even if you do it right physically, it doesn't matter because you're not where you're supposed to be. Linebacker, they're really young, and they've had some injuries, and they decided to move on from Logan Wilson, and he's now a Dallas Cowboy, and they're young at that position group. There's no question, but they run. They're athletic. They're physical. They got the tools. It's just a matter of getting them corralled. Yeah, get them corralled and playing. And then in the back end, Dax Hill is a good football player. Geno Stone's missed more tackles than law allows. It's been bad at the safety position in terms of
it's not been good.
No, tackling is, there has to be a certain want to. It's like
it used to be done at the hips and below. And now they just want to block tackle you. And
Yeah.
these big running backs and receivers are bouncing off like ping pong balls, and it's not working anymore.
No, I mean, if and I've seen it. I've seen Al Golden go through it with wrap up, get your head across the bow, get your head in front of the offensive player, stymie him, stop him at that point, wrap your arms up, take him to the ground. Paul Brown used to make everybody, including quarterbacks, do routine tackling drills where you get your head across the bow in front of the runner, stop him, wrap your arms up, take him to the ground, tackle him, let him go over your body, and make sure he's on the ground. I mean, you know, he had Kenny Anderson, Boomer Esiason, league MVPs doing routine tackling drill. So, I mean, it's a matter of if I'm the worst tackling team in the NFL, and I think missing tackles and points allowed, there's a correlation there. So, you know, the stuff's not going right. I don't know, man. I might have live tackling drills. I know the players would call the union and see loud and all that, but I mean, I'm telling you, you said it at the very beginning. You said this football team, at the beginning of our podcast, this football team lacks physicality. I agree. I mean, that's the bottom line.
And, you know, if you remember when they put that new rule in about not hitting the receivers high, you know, you got to hit them low. I mean, how many receivers blew their knees out because they just kept getting cut down by the knees and then cut back and hitting the belly? I mean, even Gronkowski got crushed one time. You know, has knee blown out for doing the same thing. As big as they are, the hard, you know, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. And those defensive backs were good at cutting them down. And where are we hitting these guys now that they're not going down? We're tackling like that, hitting with a shoulder, trying to knock them to the ground without wrapping our arms instead of cutting them down, take them down. Take Barkley. You run that guy into the chest, he'll run you over. You take him at the kneecaps, he's going to fall like everybody else.
Right. That's true.
When's the last time you saw a guy being held up, everybody reaching for the ball, and nobody go for the legs?
Yeah.
They don't. They just hit the pile.
Yeah.
What's a 190 or 200-pound defensive back going to do when the pile's going that direction? He hits him in low. He takes the whole pile out.
Yep. Excellent
That's
point.
physics.
All right, so let's talk about the offensive line a little bit, Koz. One of your areas, obviously, of expertise. When you look at this group, they've got Orlando Brown at left tackle, Amarius Mims at right tackle, both 6'8", 350-ish pounds, whatever they are. And they can move. I mean, they're athletic. They're not big stiffs. Ted Karras is a hell of a center, a veteran guy, captain of the football team, makes all the calls, never makes a mistake, great leader.
Yeah.
And then the guards are young because of injury. You know, you got very, very young players there. Dylan Fairchild is working at one, and I'm trying blanking and cramping on the right guard, the young right guard. When they picked one up off the waiver wire as well. What do you think about that group? What do you think about the offensive line? How do you think that they're gelling at this point in time?
Well, the first time they played Pittsburgh, was Patrick the guard, the left guard.
Yep.
And he blocked. He did a hell of a job on one of the Pittsburgh all-time greats.
Cameron Hayward.
Yeah, Cam Hayward, which allowed them to help everywhere else. And it looked like Cam didn't have a whole lot better productive day, but they certainly needed help on the edges between the two guys. Who are they?
TJ Watt.
TJ Watt and the other guy. The other guy had 2 sacks.
Highsmith, yeah.
Highsmith, yeah. Tremendously effective pass rush.
No
Again,
question.
They confuse the entire young guys, all those young guys with all those linebackers up in the box, the safeties, and who's coming, who's not coming. And you step down on one guy, and the other guy comes and he backs off, and now you've got a free runner on the quarterback. And that's why he didn't have 3 seconds to throw the ball. And I don't know if an older veteran would have figured it out. If you keep more guys in the box to protect the quarterback, I don't know. But whatever they were doing didn't help. I remember we played Pittsburgh in the Jeff Blake era, and he wouldn't throw the ball the first game. We had 8 sacks. It was the worst sack total in my career. I wasn't giving them all up. I'm just saying we had 8 sacks.
Right.
And then we played Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh, and Bruce Kozerski had a much better day calling protections. You know how that is. If you call the right protection, you can pick up any blitz.
Yep.
And that's a secret to throwing the ball, is being able to pick up the blitzes when they come. And we didn't give them any sacks. From 8 to none.
That's unreal.
In just a few weeks. And it's just because the protections that we were calling didn't mesh well with the blitzes that they were running, and they sacked us. The second game, we called better the protections at the right time. We had slide protections and man protections, and
Right.
we had pull protections. We had all that stuff. But you call the right protection, you can beat any blitz.
I'll tell you, that story right there keeps hope alive. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like the big thing I think at any level is turnovers. And, whether you're talking youth football, junior high school, college, NFL, how do you, when you're in a scenario when you're turning the football over and it seems like every game, son of a gun, man, we had another 3, we had 2 this week. How do you get out of that, Koz?
Your defense has to limit them to a field goal. You've got to find a way to either get a turnover or limit them and keep them out of the end zone. Because if they score, then that turnover was responsible for a touchdown and not 3 points.
Right.
And that adds up over the course of a game, and it adds up very quickly. We had 2 defensive scores in several of those games early in the year, and it just deflates the entire team. And so complementary football is critical. Early in the season, after Joe had been hurt, we played horrible offense, and you couldn't even tell the defense was struggling because they were in bad position all the time.
Right.
Then Joe Flacco came in, and we started playing much better offense. But you can see how much the defense has fallen off because they've been exposed, right? So now we're losing 2 games to teams with the Jets without a win. 2 touchdowns in 8 minutes, 7 minutes, or something like that.
Yeah.
It was just they're not picking each other up. In other words, they got to pick each other. They got to find a way to get off the field defensively, and you got to find a way to pick the other side of the ball up.
Turnovers, like we talked about, in third down. Gotta get off the football field. If the Bengals can convert half of their third downs, and that's not asking a whole hell of a lot. I mean, 50% third down conversion. I mean, that's okay, but it's not, lighten it up. If they could convert 60 or 65%, get closer to 2 out of 3, and hold the opponents like 40%, 2 out of 5, now you're talking turkey. I mean,
it also depends where you turn it over.
Good point.
If you turn it over deep in your territory, it's like you punted it. If you turn the ball over deep in their territory where they have an opportunity to get a short field, now you're in trouble. Now you put the defense automatically in field goal territory. And with these kickers hitting 60-yard field goals anymore, it's almost a matter of just getting a first down and we can kick a field goal.
Yeah.
But where the turnover occurs is just as important as the fact that we got to limit them to any.
Right. Let's talk special teams. We haven't talked, that area of it at all. Darren Simmons, outstanding special teams coach. I mean, he's been around the league a long time. There's nobody, I think, in the league that does as good a job as Darren Simmons. I think he's outstanding. I think he's one of one. He's got a hell of a kicker. I mean, Money Mac. McPherson, Evan McPherson is amazing. I mean, this guy can hit from 60, maybe even 65 yards. I mean, he gets that quick elevation. You snapped on extra points and field goals.
Yes,
how big is that, getting that quick elevation? How big a factor is that?
Well, you see these guys that are now 6'7", 6'8" over the ball, and sometimes they don't even try to get pressure. They just jump straight up,
right,
and try to bat the ball down. They're only going to get one of those thick mitts on it, and it's not going very straight.
Right.
And so I think the special teams have been very, very effective. The punter has been outstanding.
Yep.
Occasionally he gets too long. How can he be too long? Well, you hit the ball in the end zone. From your 30-yard line, you're hitting the ball into the end zone. That's a 70-yard punt.
Right.
But yet he's done it. And so, if you just back off a little bit, put the ball inside the 5, it would be better for the team. But how do you know you're going to hit one that far?
Yeah. Ryan Rico's
what a wild card he is.
He is. Ryan Rico's got a. Yeah.
You're down there for the Ring of Honor induction, by the way. Congratulations again.
Thank you, sir.
Just in awe of how he was hitting missiles. I mean, they were over and over and over. It wasn't a once in a while deal.
No question. I mean, he rips it. He's got a howitzer hanging off that right hip. It really is remarkable. So I don't know, Koz. What's your impression of the job that Zach Taylor's done for the Cincinnati Bengals?
Well, Zach's gone heavily offensive for sure.
Sure.
And we wanted that. We wanted fireworks. We wanted explosiveness. Zach's still calling plays.
Yeah.
And that's the way he and Joe like it. And Joe's calling the shots right now. And so that's not going to change as long as Zach is here. And how do you change that if Joe wants Zach? So it's kind of a damned if you do and damned if you don't thing. I think he's got to, if he's going to be around, he's got to spend a lot more time fixing the defense. And who knows what that is. If the young players growing up, the middle part of that is that the linebackers growing up, some veteran leadership. Someone's got to step up. Hendrickson's been hurt.
Yeah.
That's not helped any, but there's got to be others. The safeties have to play better. Got to tackle in the corner.
Yeah.
We got to play better edge defense. You can go right down a list of the do's and don'ts on defense, and we're kind of on the don't side. We're not stopping the edge. We're not stopping the passes on the outside. We're not stopping the short passes over the ball. So, as I said earlier, if they're going to have a chance, they're going to have to start getting better performance on first down to at least create the second and third and long situations. Lamar Jackson is going to come to town. You don't think that he's not going to be looking to tear this offense apart? He's coming off that injury. He's recovered. He's played a couple of games really well. And if he doesn't get pressured, he doesn't really make a lot of mistakes. And when he's pressured, he makes a lot of big plays because he's not afraid to run and chuck it. So he's a guy that you just have to keep in the box, keep a handle on him, and put him on the ground when you get a chance.
Cause I can't thank you enough for carving time. I know you're busy. You're right in school, man. I mean, you're Professor Cause getting it done. I know your students love you. Fellow teachers love you. You're a hell of a football coach. Your football players, your coaching staff loves you. And Cause, let's as fellow offensive linemen, let's hope for 6-2, 5-3 worst case scenario in the final 8 games of the season.
If I got a second, Dave, let me say something. My son was the head coach at Bishop Rossford. He just stepped down yesterday with family issues going on. He and his wife are expecting again, and the last one that he was in intensive care for 167 days. This is a tough man. This is a guy that has priorities in line. He knows what he wants and he knows how to get them. And he did a great job for Bishop Rossford. He'll still teach there, but I wish him the very best. To him and his family, all the love. Cause
you're a hell of a man yourself. Great family man, great husband.
My other son and his wife are also pregnant too. So
is that right?
Got to where Cause is coming on.
The fertile Kozerski family, man.
We're going, yeah.
That's awesome. Enjoy every bit of it, my man. You deserve it.
Appreciate it, David.
Take care, Cause.